Hi everyone, from popular demand on my Instagram stories. Today we're going to recreate this. It's a bit of a weird use of container comps. So we've already seen container comps in tutorial 1 if you have followed this one. So let's start right now. If you've never used container comps, it can seem a bit weird, but actually this patch is pretty simple. So let's go to comp, the black page on your operator create dialog. You can access by hitting tab and container. So container, if you don't know it, we can look at the description at the bottom of the screen. So it says container component groups together any number of buttons, slider, fields, container and other panel components to build an interface. So it actually has some nice features built in that other comp don't always have. So we're going to use the capacity of displaying and aligning the children of the composition. So let's take this one, container, and it's going to be our main screen container. So this, so everyone can follow, let's make it 1280 by 720, like this. Okay. So everyone, even without the commercial license, can set the same height. So this is going to be our main container. Like, see it as the white canvas on which we're going to arrange all these containers. So to get in this one, we can zoom until we snap into the container. And now we're going to set up another container. Container, okay, hit enter. We want to create like columns, and in each column we want to have several circles that stack on top of each other. So this one for now, let's make just the circle, and then we'll make a column container to put them inside. Just so you see how it works, we're going to create this one. We can call it shape 0, and directly go inside. And this is going to be the only network that's going to be like in the shape is going to be circle top. As simple as that. What we want to do right away is to make the edge of the circle touch like the edge of the image, the texture. So we're increasing the radius to 0.5, 0.5, and then that's it for for this part. We just go up, so scroll up and have access to this shape container. Now we don't see our circle, so what we want to look at is the look page on your parameter page. So parameter page is this one. In the look tab, you can select which top inside of this container you want to use as the background. So background is going to be what is displayed. Background top here, we can say we want to look inside, so point slash, and specify circle 1. Oh, circle 1, yes. So now it took circle 1 and it displayed it in the background, and it's squished a bit like the shape. No worries, we can go back in the layout, and now we see that we have width and height, and we can like arrange the right width and height. And it just stretches the circle. This is actually what made me wonder if it was possible to use this as a feature, and that's usually something we want to avoid when we use shapes. We want to maintain the good aspect ratios, but it was interesting to use this, like to misuse this one. Just to show you, this is the circle. Now we have a container that's using this circle as like its background and squishing it accordingly. And now if we go to our main container, so our container 1, the one that's supposed to be our canvas, this one is displaying our shape, kind of in a random spot. What we can do, just to show you, I'm going to decrease a bit the dimension and copy and paste a few times. So now we have 3 shapes. when we go up a level, we only have one of the circles. If we look at our parameter page, we have a children tab. So this children tab is in the context of having an interface. You have like the base layer, so your container, and children are all the operators that are inside. So it's going to take all the containers inside this main container, and you have a lot of options to align them, like top to bottom, left to right, in a grid pattern. So let's take a look at that. We say align, and let's try left to right. Okay, so now it took our shapes and arranged them left to right. If we change the different dimensions, okay, like that, we go up a level, and then it does its best to do that. In the context of this, we want to stack our circles. So what we can do to automate this is we have this parameter in the layout tab that's horizontal mode, fixed width. So now fixed width means we set the width of our operator manually with this parameter. But we can also say fill. What fill means is it takes a look at the width of the parent comp and set the width to the exact same way. And the height, we can also set the height if we want vertical mode to fill, and then you always have like the same aspect ratio, like it's just the same dimension. Obviously we don't want the height, so let's keep fixed height for this. And if we copy paste them a number of times, we see that as we selected left to right for our circles to be aligned, and we selected the horizontal mode to fill, now it's setting the width evenly between our different shapes. So this is what we're going to use to create our columns. So let's right now make our column comps so we are already set. So I'm creating a new container. This one I'm going to name column 0. I'm setting the vertical mode to fill and the horizontal mode to fill. Then I'm taking my shape, and my shape is going to be in the column. So I'm hitting Ctrl X to cut, going into my column, and Ctrl V to paste. Now I have my column, my shape, and then my canvas. What's interesting is now when we copy and paste our column that's set to fill width and fill height, each column is going to have an even width, and is going to set them from left to right evenly. So this is exactly what we want. Now that we have our basic column set up, we need to have more shapes, more circles, and to stack them on top of each other. This means that let's create some circles directly in our column. If we want to set them vertically from top to bottom, we need to go into the children tab, align top to bottom, and we're going to decrease the width, the height a bit, so we see them. And now we have it. Obviously, if we have one, like if we set manually different width and height, we're going to have kind of what we want at the end. Obviously, we don't want to copy and paste manually, and we don't want to set the height manually for each one. So let's automate this. Let's delete all the copies, the manual copies, and we're going to create a Let's say we have several ways to make randomness in Touch Designer, and I'm going to show you one I use a lot. It's with Pattern Shop. For this one, I'm going to select random, and what it's going to do is to let me say how many random samples I want, and from what, like from right now is 0 to 1, and to what range I want to remap them. So it's a really convenient and fast and easy way to have plainly random numbers. If we use noise, we're going to have continuity between the samples. So this is the main selling point of using noise, but here we don't really need continuity. We don't want each circle to be independent. So plain randomness is perfect for that. So random length, so it's the number of random samples. We are not going to exceed like 30, so we're already going to be set with 30. And then, so our shape, let's say maybe the minimum height, we can say maybe 10, and maximum can be, let's say like yes, 550. Okay. So this is what I do when before setting a range. Usually I just check with the cursor what's the minimum value I want and what's the max, and I can just put them in the field. So from 0 to 1, this is exactly what we see here. 0, 1, so we know the base range. From 0, 1, we want them to 10, and we said 550. This is exactly like using a math after and the range tab into the math parameters. And now I'm going to show you a convenient way, just for the sake of being clean, let's put a null. So for single samples with chops, it's really easy to just make the operator active by clicking the plus or hitting A, and then dragging, hovering on the destination, and releasing on the parameter. But when you have a string of different samples, when you do that, it's going to read like the sample. But like we just want one sample. We don't want for it to like cycle between all the values. So there's a simple way to do that. Let's just undo this link. Obviously, what you can do by clicking and dragging, you can also do by just writing. And it's really easy, and it's really important to have it break down so you can understand and use it to your advantage. So for this one, let's say, where is our value? It's in operator null1. So op parenthesis, single brackets, null1. So, okay, our value is in null1. In null1, it's in, so the typical way when we drag and drop, the typical way it's displayed is chan1. So this is going to be like the same cyclical way. But we can actually be more precise with this. We can actually add some brackets. And what these brackets are going to be useful for is to exactly tell what sample you want into this channel. So if you say 0, it's like an index 0, up, we have the first index. If we want to access index 2, so like the third one, index 10. So this is a really convenient way to access any sample in a chop. And actually, you can also do this with the channel. If we put just 0 without single quotes, so single quotes is to say this is the name of the channel you want to access. If we use just a number, now it's going to refer to index 0, so channel, like the first channel. There's only one channel, so it's channel 1. It could be useful maybe if your channel changes name, so usually that can break your like connections. If you use this, that can be a way to avoid that, or maybe you want Like it's more convenient to do that. I don't know, it's just a really handy tool, and for some specific situation it can be useful. So it's a nice example for that. So we have exactly the number we want. Okay, then let's make the shape, like the randomness, change. To do that, it's really easy. We need to animate like the seed. I'm going to take an LFO like that. To count the cycles, I'm going to use a count chop, and then I just need to activate, so A, drag and drop on the seed parameter, and now with each cycle of the LFO it's changing. Let's go up a level to see that. Okay, nice. That's a good start, and it's like most of the work is done. So we can review in real time what we're doing. Let's just right click on this container and click view. So we can have like a nice little window, and we don't always need to go up and inside, like up and down, inside, outside, just to see what we're doing. Okay. First thing I want to do is to have smooth transition between like the different states. Real easy. Something I'm always using is the lag, but it's already breaking our patch. So when you use lag, its basic mode is to be used like for just one value to transition between different states of just one sample. But when you have a string of sample, like when you have like different samples and your chop is long, you can just say I want my lag to be per sample, and now it's working exactly how you expect. It's just transitioning, lagging between values of independently with each sample. Okay, and on the left we see it's working exactly as we want. So now if we want different shapes, let's just copy and paste. And now it's working partly as we want. So what it's doing right is stacking all the circles. Obvious thing that doesn't work is it's all the same. We saw here that we can reference exactly the sample we want to read. So one bad option would be to manually say, okay, this one is going to be 1, 1, 2, 3. But if we want to try maybe, oh, how would that look if it was maybe 100? We would need to do that times 100, which is very bad. What we can do, if we think a bit, we've already used this in in another tutorial, but when you want to make an exact copy, like if I want to copy paste this and have them look at different samples, what I can do, the only thing that is different when we copy paste it is the name. To avoid having operators from like that have the same name, Touch Designer just increments the names. So when you try to copy paste shape 0, it becomes shape 1, and when you copy paste another time, shape 2, 3, and so on. And this is actually something we can reference in our patch. So here it's null 1, channel 0, sample 0. So now it's shape 0. We can say, look at this number. How you access it is to say me. So me, myself, this operator, shape 0, me, dot, digits. Now, when I do that, nothing happens because it's shape 0. So looking at the index 0 and my name that is also 0 is going to be the same thing. So when we copy and paste it, now each and every one of them, shape 4 looks at sample number 4, shape 3 looks at sample number 3. And now we have basically everything we want. If we want to do something cleaner than that, we can just have a replicator. Replicator it's comp, so in the black page. And how it works is you say which operator you want as the master operator, so the one that's going to be copied, and how many times you want copy of it. For now, it's going to be just number for us. And we're going to name them to be consistent. Let's name them shape as a prefix. So prefix is what's going to come before the number, because it's going to duplicate it a lot, so it's going to be like shape 1, 2, 3. So replicant suffix starts at 1, perfect, because our first one is named shape 0. And we want how many copies of it? Let's say 10. And if it overlaps weirdly, like awkwardly around your base network, you can say the layout origin here. And now, perfect. Remember, when you're doing this and you make some adjustment, let's say I change the color of my circle, it's not going to update until you hit recreate all operators. When I do that, everything redoes this copy, but as long as you don't touch this replicator, it's not going to recreate the copy each frame. So this is something, if you want to have a reset button, you can create a hotkey for you, like with keyboard in, and say when I hit 1, recreate all operators, or with a button on an interface you're creating. I'm going to undo this, back to white, same, it doesn't update. So what I do is replicator, recreate all operators. So nice, now we have our first column. When we do this, we can either have, let's close this one, we can either have like one big column of circles, or copy paste and have more of them. When I go back, I just copied and pasted this, but we see that it's going through the same, cyclically, like the same shapes. It's not random. It seems like it's the same one, just delayed in time. You see? This is actually something we can like, and it's something that could be nice. But as always, it's nice to have options like to not accept this because we're not able to fix it. So let's fix it before we decide if it's something we want or not. Actually, it's kind of nice like this wave motion. So same as the circle. Maybe we don't want to set this by hand. So we're going to recreate a replicator, exactly what we just did. Replicator, master operator is going to be colon 0, name colon, prefix colon. Our method, how do we want to replicate? By number, perfect. Number of applicant, let's just say 5. Now recreate all operators, and now it's all the same. So what we want is for each column to be independent, so to have its own randomness. What we can do is to look at where exactly this randomness is coming from. It's coming from here. And it's also changing each time we change the seed. So the seed seems like a good contender for fixing this problem. So we want each column to be independent, and as we did with the circle, when we copy and paste or when we replicate the column, the only thing that changes is the number, the me.digit. So we can try to use that. So what I can do really easily is to multiply this seed by digits of the column. So now we're in the column. You remember it's we have all the, here we have all the circles. So we don't want to refer to the digits of pattern 1. What would happen if we say like me.digit? It would just look at pattern 1. Actually, let me just show you me.digits. If we do that, it does exactly nothing. because even if column 0, column 1, column 2 like have different digits, when we go inside each and every one of them, it's always pattern 1 inside. It's always pattern 1. So when we multiply by me.digits, it's always going to be 1. So it's not different. Like it's not, we are not using this digit right. But what we can do is to refer to the digits of the column. Even if it's not this operator, you can say, look at this one, look at this digit. So what operator is this? It's the parent operator, the one on the top level. So we can say parent parenthesis dot digits. And now we just created ourselves another problem. So it's working right, but as the digit is 0, it's just multiplying the changing seed by 0. So now it's just not changing at all, it's just like multiplying by 0. It's just like not a great strategy for moving stuff. So what we can do is just say plus 1 times the seed. So now what I just did, so when I recreate all operators with that, we see that now they are independent. I'm just right-clicking view, making it a bit smaller. And when I go inside, I can just add columns. And now they're just like really moving independently. So this is it for this simple simple patch. What we can do just to go a bit like to have a more convenient tool, we're going to create some macros. So let's go into our main container. This container, we can right click and customize component. Now in customize component, you see we have our container, and usually like the tabs, they just come with the operator, and it's just like that. You have all these parameters to go through, nothing else. But actually, it's not like nothing else. You can customize these components. What we're going to do, let's create a new page called macros. And now you see that it just added a new tab. So this is totally something you can do. You can customize your components, you can customize your containers, and extract some parameters for ease of use to easily map MIDI, audio reactive stuff. Like it's something that's really convenient. And when you create this page and you have a page selected, you can now create some parameters. So what I'm going to do is to create one that's named randomness, and it's going to be a float, and it's going to be my transition parameters from normal repartition to random one. Add parameter, and now we have randomness. By the way, here you can select what's the default value when it appears on your screen, what's the minimum of the range, and what's the max. So this is going to be the minimum here, it's 0, but we can say 0.5, and now it's 0.5 to 1. I like 0, so I'm going to stick with 0. And then, yeah, it's just, oh yeah, I also wanted to have a number of columns. So let's just go back, customize component, select my macro page. Now I want to have like an integer that's going to be my number of columns. So let's see what type of value we want integer, and add parameter. Oh, parameter, no, I don't want it to be, let's say columns, label, also columns. Okay. So these columns, I want the minimum range to be 0. so 0 copies, so only the original column. And max, I can say maybe let's see how many we can do. Let's say 50. Okay, so now I have columns, and I have this 0 to 50 slider. It doesn't go through decimal values. Now we can right click and click on parameters to have like it's exactly the same page, but we can open it to have it with us even when we go inside. And now we can just click on columns, click and drag, and release on number of replicants. And now we have this slider controlling the number of columns. So 10 columns. So now we created a macro. And for the randomness, so this is what is controlling our randomness. So the amplitude, yeah, we could use the amplitude of the pattern. So randomness, I'm releasing it on amplitude. And then when I go back, I have this parameter that's controlling the randomness. It's only affecting the first column. I need to update these columns so they're all like the same as the first one. And now we see I have my randomness slider. So it's maybe not the best way because now it's just from minimum to maximum. But it works. Now it's up to you to decide where you want to put this value. So thanks a lot for watching, and now you see how you can affect different shapes despite them being exact copy of each other with the digits. And you also see how you can use containers not only for like functional UI, but also to make nice composition. So I hope you like this one, and I hope you understood like the small bits, like the channel, like the way to reference special samples in the chop. I think it's a great tip. So I hope you like that, and see you in the next one.